COVID, as it's came along, has been like a trauma to everyone. And whenever a trauma happens in our life, it takes a long time for us to process it, to deal with it, to adjust, to tune into the new normal, if you like. And I have found my own observations have been that the way society has dealt with this trauma has been like a grieving process. And there's been the classical 5 stages of grieving that everybody's went through, and they all come in order. So it starts off with denial, where we can't believe this is happening, and some people have taken that denial to the top level, which is the this isn't real, this is a conspiracy theory, and I think some people think the figures have been inflated by the government, etc. The media is blown out of all proportion, that kind of level of denial. However, people in that category have changed their position quite considerably when the pandemic has came home to roost for them, and they've suffered the tragedy of a personal loss. Moving on from the first stage of denial, next we have bargaining, and we get to that process where we think, if I could only do this and if I could only do that, then things will work out fine. And we do that through taking cognizance, if you like, of the government guidelines with the social distancing, working from home. These are ways that we can adjust the bargaining. If we do this, I'll be fine. Perhaps people have changed from their weekly, a daily trip to the shops to maybe a weekly trip to the shops to minimise their exposure to COVID. Then we move on to the third stage, which is anger. And there's been a lot of anger at times from people in society through the COVID experience. People blaming the government for taking the wrong action or slow to act. People angry that their life has been changed, that they're being so restricted in what they do. These are all things that people have expressed great anger about. The injustice of it all, the injustice of the pandemic. Then we move into the fourth category, which is depression. And people have suffered higher levels of depression and anxiety during this pandemic. There's no doubt about that. And we'll touch on that a little bit later, I'm sure. I'll go into that a bit more in depth. But we all struggle with it. We're not designed to be isolated, and that does affect our mood. We're not used to working at home so much. So many people, you miss that team ethic in the workplace, where you can bounce ideas off each other, that you can enjoy your relationships. But the fifth stage of this process is acceptance. And it's about tuning into the new normal. It's realising you are where you are. This is what it is. And rather than focus on the negatives, we focus on the positives, and we look to make the best of the situation and try to enhance our quality of life in whatever way we can in the current circumstances.